What's up, studs, studettes, bros, hoes, and gigolos, my friends, my people, my tribe. Hello, the stock market family. I hope everybody had a wonderful evening and wonderful trading day. The market is doing what the market does, and here we are face to face like a couple of silver spoons. We have another down day in the markets to be expected. And now let's go and see what the heck is going on and what's next. So, first of all, after the dead cat bounce from the Trump tariff reprieve, we hit into the 20 SMA and the old breakdown spots. We got two levels of huge supply. And, dude, we started to do what markets do and start to roll back over. And now we're bleeding out. In absence of news, this is probably the play. To me, it looks like we're going to come back and probably retest this back low, and the market will force, the Trumpster's hand to see if he's willing to do anything or willing to not. It's not really our place to figure that part out, but that's just kind of what it seems like. Oftentimes, when you get these big rallies, you'll come back and retest. If anything, like a break under this 400 would really suck in some shorts, and then maybe you get some news. Now, once again, you cannot trade, you cannot plan, you cannot do anything based on, number one, news, number two, the Trumpster. He's doing whatever it is that he wants, and that's how it's always been. A lot of people feel surprised or hurt when they look at their portfolios of the 401ks and say, man, I thought, Kamala Harris was going to, crash the stock market. That's what he said. And none of this really matters, right? It's all just conjecture. The price action is the price action. And frankly, look, we have been in a major bull market for a long period of time, and this type of cycle was due regardless. Now, sure, the extra volatility from the tariffs and the Trumpster, that gives it the kick in the pants that it needs. But in general cycles of the market, we were in the last stage of a run-up phase anyways. We had been in a distribution phase for a while. So these type of things happen. Don't read too much into it. At some point, if you're an investor, right, when things get really, really nasty, it's your time to buy. If you are a short-term trader, then you short-term trade, right? This is what you live for. This is the volatility. And, dude, we were doing the boots, the coots, the butts, and the cuts all day in the chat room from all of these little piggies, and this is what you want. Like, so if you're a day trader, swing trader, whatever, dude, you gap down and then you just have a gap and go the whole day till 3 p.m. That's very rare. These are the days you actually should be pushing your chips in and trading really aggressively, because basically everything went to plan, right? Like, you gap down, you take out the opening range in NVDA, take out another consolidation, take out a little bear flag, and right, you get this nice trend on it. What else can you ask for, right? Tesla down at 1.78%, had a little bit of a rescue end of day, but same type of deal, right? You have a nice, easy trend down. So if you're a day trader, this is what you live for, right? So now the plan is like, okay, so what do we do next? So I think in absence of news, if we get a gap up tomorrow, we fade. In absence of news, we fade it. All right? There's we have no other possibilities till this range kind of tightens up here, and then you kind of cross back, and if you cross back and rip back over the 20 SMA, then it's a little bit, then you can start to long. So like how you want to look at these things is like, see like how like in August of last year, like you had this big pushback, right? And then you had the dead cat bounce, and then you kind of made a higher low. You may even double bottom sometimes. But it's when you cross back over the MAs, that's usually your telltale sign, okay, like now you're off to the races. And you'll see this time and time again. I don't know what this particular pattern is called, but you'll see this a lot. Like you get a big pullback, and then you pop up. You get a little bit of a higher low. Sometimes you get a double bottom, maybe even slightly under. And then you'll cross back over the EMAs, and right, you're in there. I should give this a name. I don't know if there's a name for it yet, but maybe that'll be on my to-do list for the week. So that's where I would look at this. Let's see if we kind of come back, make a higher low, double bottom, and then you need the the rip back over the MAs. And the MAs are far away, so this is going to take time. You're going to need time to congeal and do all of this stuff. And, from there we could see what's up. So I think the plays for tomorrow, look, they all look the same. It does not matter. You got some levels that are developing in NVDA, kind of. I wouldn't call that really a level, but for most technical analysts, it's close enough, right? This is, in bull markets, it's a line drawer's market, right? You get these kids, they fucking draw the squiggly lines on the charts, and they're just like ripping tits. They're like, hey, guys, here we are, right? But, in general, this thing is getting smoked out. You got a date with the 85 down here. Tesla, man, this feels like a breakdown. All right, you got 1 test, 2 tests, 3 tests, 4 tests. It may need an inside day. If it had 1 inside day, you get like a little bit of a bounce, a little bit of an inside day action. I think that sets up for the 220 breakdown, and you take this thing maybe, I don't even know where this goes. It don't really matter. Targets are usually for suckers when you're swing trading. Dude, you get the entry, you scale out it and say 3-to-1 reward to risk if you're a swing trader, and then you just trail. That's the best thing that swing traders can do. Having targets like, hey, my Fibonacci says, ooh, right? Like my Fibonacci says, I'm going to 300. That ain't really how it works, right? You have to have a thesis. Are you investor, position trader, swing trader? And then you're kind of guiding your rules, your sell rules around that, right? And that's just, how general trading goes. So I think something like that, I think we can put in the cards. Any gap up on Meta, I think we take this thing down. It's right at its previous lows. Dude, this thing's a pig. It's breaking all of this down. It really is. Like, most likely, in absence of news, it's breaking all of this stuff down. It's a piggy McGee. No getting around it. So you can add in any of these. Today, dude, I had so many. We shorted this Palantir on the opening spike. Guys, this is how you know you're in bear market. Lesson. When you get a spike like this, a big fucking, sorry for the swearing, a big honking mega penis candle like that, everybody chases it. They're like, okay, it broke over the previous day's highs. You got this big green candle. Wait for a reversal candle, like some type of little topping tail, something like that. And then you slam it short. I think we did 93 puts on this when it started to roll over. I mean, poodle. Gap ups on this bad boy too. If the market is rolling over, dude, you can take it down. I think same thing with AMD. This 85 is like a key spot here. We had some puts on this at the open, and we wrote them down for a couple hours. Not as much quesos as I thought. Only moved like $2. So it was some quesos, but not the muchos. Buenos, bella ciao quesos. We didn't get that. I think TSM, nice level right here. Dude, this thing has got 135 in the cards on it. Now, look, there's a good shot at some point. This is all just conjecture. If the price action changes, the Trumpster says, gotcha, hey, I'm just kidding, I'm negotiating with China, right? And, everything is good, and your market wants to squeeze this thing back, then okay, we can play this thing back up, and you just have to be flexible, all right? If you're shorting right now, and we're kind of shorting into the hole a little bit, tight stops, and be ready to reverse, But I will say this, and this is something to be mindful of. The Trumpster has now tried to pump the market the last couple days to no avail. One candle here, and then the sellers are in control. Today was an all-day long sell program. It was slow. There was no buyers. There was no panic. It was just a slow bleed. You didn't get like real huge candles, no fear. Just an all-day long sell program. The algos were coming in. Every little pop into EMAs, boom, sell programs turning on. That tells you that the big money is kind of trying to bleed out this market for a little bit. Nobody wants any risk, and they're taking that risk out of the Mag 7s right now. And so just kind of be mindful. Look at even like something like a Netflix, right? They pop up on their earnings, and it's like people are just using it for liquidity, right? So just be mindful of that. There's not going to be any really good-looking stocks. You have to be prepared to just whatever you're long, You have to be prepared to, like, look and flip these things back over. Like, this MSTR looks okay, but this is a big gelatinous piece of excrement. Even today, spike, right? It felt so generic. Like, you're like, I can't trust that, right? Can't trust that. When I saw this thing breaking highs, I'm like, oof. In this market, the breaking of highs is your sell spot usually, right? So just kind of be mindful of these things. I don't trust nothing right now, but we will change on a dot. If the news flow changes, the price action changes, then, we can come in and do whatever. I think this MU's got a little bit of a bear flag on this too. My concentration is just in these kind of bigger techs because you could get size in them and you can do the options on them and they're following the technicals and the EMAs and everything really well right now because the sell programs are just on it. The sell programs at these big brokers they're not like some high level thing. They're using the same shit as us. There's like some 25-year-old kid with acne that got out of Dartmouth and probably never got laid who's like, man, my guru in the Discord room says this is a short. He probably programs his algos to do the same thing for Goldman. Like, let's short this thing at the VWAP. Like, oh shit. Why didn't I think of that, right? Everybody's looking at the same stuff. They're selling at the same spots. That's how you just know, right, that everything is clean right now. And this market is clean. If you're a swing trader, you're getting your balls kicked in, just be in cash. No big deal. I wouldn't swing trade short necessarily at this specific level. And if you're a day trader, man, go have fun. This is where you make the money. This is where the ATR is just so big that you got nothing to do but bank, all right? So, guys, let me know if you have any questions. I love you guys. Hey, this stuff will pass in a few weeks, few months, who knows when. Enjoy the ride, man. This is just these are just markets. I love you guys. Peace.